Give me a pen. Yeah, I think I had skipped that dyslexia assessment. So the dyslexia we had done dyscalculia, right? So in the dyscalculia also, you can give them some problems wherein you have you have a series, circle all 6 here. You're going to give some problems like this. The child has to circle all 6 and all 9. And you're going to give him a problem wherein he has to copy it in the same manner. So like this, for example, if you have tables in this way, 6, 6 and 6. The same pattern he has to copy it over there. Okay? So you can give him some problems like this. And you can give him some problems related to this plus sign and multiplication sign. Wherever applicable, he has to just circle the plus sign and whatever is relevant. For example, 2 plus 2 is plus. 2 into 2 is also 4 itself, right? So you have to give him the problems where plus and multiplication sign, where he has to add the plus sign and where he has to add the multiplication sign. You can create a lot of worksheets like this to the child. So this also you can use it as an assessment. I'll show you the paper I had it after this session, because I just have to look at it where it is. So for dyscalculia also you can come to an assessment in the same manner. So now coming to the reading tips. So in case if you have a learning disabled child, so how to encourage him more reading activity, how to enhance his reading skills. How you can do is, first and foremost, if you have a person who is having problem with reading, you give him a textbook or the normal, whatever the preschool living, usually the preschool textbooks are very, very colorful, right? Colorful, and the text is a little bigger, so it's easy for the child to read. So you can select those, and what you're going to do is you're going to highlight the reading material by a marker by placing a plastic sheet over the material. So whatever the child has to read, because if you remember in the morning session I had told, they usually skip lines. Okay? They skip words or they skip lines. So what you are going to do? You are going to mark it. You are going to highlight the one which they are supposed to read. Clear? Then give a book with larger print followed by a smaller print. Give a book with larger print followed by a smaller print. Always start with a larger print where the font size is bigger, so that it's more clear for them. Okay? Then you can go with a smaller print. If the child is having some problem with smaller print, please don't try with that first. Then use flashcards if the child is not remembering simple words. You can use the flashcards which you have made. For example, if you want to teach them, cat is fat. Okay? So if the child is not able to frame that simple sentence, show him the flashcards. Cat, you can even show him the picture flashcards also. Okay? Cat is fat. So something like that, you have to show him the flashcards. So this way you can enhance his reading skill. And apart from that, highlight all sight words using a yellow marker. The color is of your choice. There is no standard color coding in this. Okay? Any color you can use. If you remember the video, she also had used different colors for the sight words and different colors for the pictures, right? And different colors for the consonants. So the same way you can use different colors, but you tell them, for the sight words I am using this color. Then you have to color those sight words so that it's easier for the child to read. Then cut out a section of newspaper and have the student circle all O's or all L's or all B's or all P's, whatever letter you want to choose. Give him a paper cutout and ask him to circle all those letters which you are mentioning. So what's going to happen with this? And there should be always repetition with this so that the child learns it faster. Okay? Then play a visual memory game. So how can you play a visual memory game? Picture flashcards. Show them all the objects. Around 10 objects in a tray. Show them all the objects. and show it for around 10 seconds. Then close it and ask him to recall what all the objects he had seen. So that memory games you're going to play with the child. So these are all going to increase his skills, okay? Memory skills, and is going to increase its, and this has to be played very often with the child, because always learning whatever he has to learn with the fun way, he learns it much faster. Then play, that's done, right? Play the store game to increase the auditory memory. So how do you play the store game? Anybody has played this? One item. Yeah. So you go to the market and to the grocery shop, or just a play kind of a thing. Okay. So there'll be vegetables, there'll be fruits, and there'll be grocery items. One child is going to bring the carrot. You're going to ask the child to go and bring the carrot. So the one child will bring the carrot. You're going to ask the next child or the same child to bring, this time when he's going the second time, you are going to ask him to bring carrot, orange, mango. And he has to bring it the same way. This is carrot, orange, mango. You're going to say that in the classroom. The child has to go to the grocery store, which is, you have just created a virtual scene of it or something like that. He has to go there and ask for the same. Should not forget that. That's the auditory memory. So that's called as a store game. You can frame a lot of games like this. So whatever you have instructed in the classroom, he has to bring the same. And next time when you are doing it, you are going to add up more items. Okay. Then make the child touch and read letters prepared on a tile. Sandpaper letters. So you make the child to touch and read those letters. Repetitions is a must here for all this learning disabled child. So for normal children also. Yeah. Normal children also. But for learning, in case if they have some learning problems, give it more oftenly. That's it. Repetition should be there and more oftenly, and give them lots of time to practice. Normal child can master it very easily. These children take some time. Then coming to math tips. So teach the concept of maths using simple workbooks. Start with very, very simple workbooks. Start with the language first. Tall, short, big, long, and all those things. How we start for a normal child, the pre-number concepts and all, start with the same manner. Maybe they take a little longer time, no issues. Spend some time, okay? Then have the child use colored pencils to do maths. As I told you, color has a different area of representation in the brain. Okay, the right part of your brain, the child's brain also get activated. If it's a right-hander, the left is usually active, right? If it's a left-hander, the right is usually active. But here, both the part of the brain will be working simultaneously if you use different colors, the colors, okay? So right part and the left part, both will be simultaneously processing and working. Clear? So you have to use a lot of color pencils while doing mathematics. Then break the math facts into 3s, 4s, etc. and do one set at a time. So break it into simple concepts. The child is not able to understand. Because math is a concept where the child, even a normal child, he takes little time to understand. Because everybody is not that very good at math. But once he has a strong foundation of that math concept, he'll be very strong at it. Okay? Then spelling tips. So how you can help the child to improve his spelling pattern. So have the student practice by writing the spelling word consonants with one marker and vowels with the other. As I told you in the morning, you can use different colors, consonants with one color, vowels with the other color. So he'll come to know where are the vowels. All this A, E, I, O, U, it has to be written in one single color. If you're using red, it has to be only red. If you're using black for the consonant, it has to be only black. Yes? Then, followed by prefixes and suffixes in one color and base color in the other one. Okay? Like for example, prefixes and suffixes. So what you can give me example prefix? spelling which the child prefix. Huh? That's a hi-fi word here. Prefix, any simple prefix. We can use this when you are teaching the opposite, met, unmet. What you are going to use is, you are going to use a different color. The prefix you are going to use a different color. Okay? Then when you are using the suffix, for example, what? Day-wise or any other suffix, what you can use? Huh? Colorful. Color and full. Okay? Full you are going to use in a different color. All the prefixes and suffixes you are using in different color. The middle one, which is called as what? I forgot the name. That's also called something, right? No, Sadaf ma'am will be doing that. So I'm sorry, I just forgot. What do they call that? For the middle one, they have one term. Prefix, suffix, and the... Okay, let's see. Maybe I'll recall it. Huh? No, in the English also they say that as some term. I'm not getting it now. Okay, anyways. And write the spelling word in multiple colors on a large card. And hold the card for 10 seconds and then take away. Ask the student to spell the word in the card. So if you have a long word, okay, if you want the child to read out that word, use different colors for that word. There's letters, what you're going to include in that word. For example, as she said, colorful. Okay? C-O-L-O-U-R-F-U-L. Don't write it in the same color. Use different colors to write all the letters in that word. And it has to be a big flashcard, a big KG cardboard wherein you're going to paste that letter or you're going to write that letter. Okay? And you're going to show it to the child. Start with the simpler ones and then go to the complex word. Okay? Start with the simple word and then go to the complex word wherein you can use different colors here. For all, irrespective of consonant or vowel. Small kids, you can use cat. Yes, you can do that. Like when you're starting with AT at, then the sounds related to that, the words related to that. AT at, cat, CAT cat, PAT pat, RAT rat, BAT bat. Like that, use different colors for that. Okay, so if you use like this, that is the main idea behind this. Making their both brains work. Both part of the brain, right as well as left, because they are slow in learning. Okay, your ultimate idea is only that, using colors. Then color the title, little sound components at and an, as we have just discussed, and then have the student write the word families from memory. So you're going to just give that 2-letter word, at, an, am, and he is going to make a family out of it. Start alphabet wise. Okay, at, A, at. Does it make a word? No. B-A-T makes a word? Yes, it is bat. C-A-T makes a word? Yes, it is cat. D-A-T makes a word? That? No. It doesn't make a sense word. That's a nonsense word. Okay. So you can just go alphabet wise like that. Even when you're teaching your normal children, normal kids also in the school, always when you're making families out of these 2 letters, go alphabet wise. So the child doesn't forget. He'll never miss out any alphabet, any word forming in that. Okay. Then use nonsense words also in this pattern. This is just to improve their vocabulary, using nonsense words. No meaning out of it, but it improves their vocabulary. Then do dictation with the student. So have a dictation. Once this child has mastered with 2-letter and the 3-letter, an immediate surprise one day, just while playing itself, you tell them, okay, today you take out your pencil and eraser, we're going to try something new today. So just give them 4 or 5 words. And if they write it correctly, they'll be very, very happy. Yes? So you can do that. Then practice auditory discrimination. Here, with the phonic letters, phonic sounds, you're going to, just like we had seen in the video, the popping sounds, lip poppers, h and b. The discrimination. So where it comes, how you're going to spell it, the articulation, how there is a variation in the articulation, everything. You're going to make the child listen and discriminate from the other words. So that's auditory discrimination. Then practice auditory memory. This is again giving him a lot of words and asking him to repeat those, whatever you have spelled out. Okay? That can be done to improve the spelling tips. And he can even say those words when it comes to the spelling. Then writing tips. What you can do with this? For writing, obviously, before a child starts writing, his hand muscles should be very much strong enough to hold the pencil and to sustain writing. If the hand muscles are weak, fine motor skills cannot be. And if you force him to do, the child is going to lose interest in writing. So please don't force if the child is not ready. Give him all the other activities, all the other manipulatives, and indirectly try to improve his motor skills first and then start with writing. Then, if the child is comfortable, he can start by 2 years also. Okay, so that depends. 2 years, just give him, if he's able to, if he's having that grip, if he's having that strength, just give him paper, they start just scribbling. That can be encouraged, no problem. But don't over-give them anything. And don't make it a compulsion that if they've given a homework, you have to complete this. So no compulsions like that. Then practice writing large letters on sand or shaving cream and then start writing words and short sentences and then slowly increase the size of the letters and words. So what are you going to do? The same way what we follow here. Start with the sand or a shaving cream or a rice in a tray and ask them to practice on that, or either rava, okay, sprinkle salt or rava, anything. Salt is the best option because it's cheap also. Okay, but even nowadays that has also become a little expensive. Okay. Yeah, that will be mud also. It goes with the sand also. Just to improve their sensory skills. Okay, you can use all those things. Anyway, wherever it's possible, just make them practice it. Right? Then take a ruled book and dictate simple sentences such as, I saw the cat run. This can be given to a UKG in case if they have already learned these simple words and simple letters, making short sentences, then you can go for a longer ones, little harder ones. Okay? Always you have to start with simple concepts first. Then go to the compound ones. Then present a picture to the student and have him writing 5 things about the picture. And repeat it and progress until he can write few sentences about the picture. So this is a little difficult task. Maybe an age of 6-year-old child might not be able to write so many things about it. So this is applicable to higher grades, maybe first standard or second standard or third standard. So what you're going to do is, just for your knowledge, you're going to present a picture. So maybe you can present that fish. Yes? This will be on display over there. And show the picture, ask the child to write few sentences about that picture. Whatever he imagines, let him write. Okay? So with that, what's going to happen is imagination. His spelling you can check out whether he's writing it properly or not. Vocabulary. So everything you can have a note of it. And you can come to an assessment like in case if he is not written properly, where your concentration is going to be. Where you have to work with the child. Okay? So that thing you can make out with this. Then have the student form a paragraph out of pictures shown with symbols and pronunciations later. This is a next step of this. Sorry, punctuations later. So this is the next step. What are you going to do? You have shown it. You ask him to write a paragraph out of it. That is there in the second standard and third standard, wherein the child is given one thing and the child is supposed to write. But in some of the CBSE schools I have seen in the first standard itself they have this.
Creative writing.
Creative writing. Comprehension and creative writing. They have this, but it is little difficult for a first standard kid to write. You can't expect very high out of it. Okay? But yeah, if they have been trained in such a way from the beginning, it's fine. But if they have not trained, it's going to be very difficult for the child to write.
No, but there are some students I used to see in second standard, and I did the creative writing part of it. One of the child came up with something which was like brilliant, and I was like, he spoke about astronauts and aliens, and he wrote just 2 lines, but I was so impressed when I saw
Okay.
that.
Yeah, few kids, it depends, you know, like, yeah. So, these are the things, some of the tips wherein you can enhance their reading skills, listening skills, vocabulary and writing patterns. So this can be practiced. This has been done, this has been done. And lastly, you can just go through this video. With this we have completed this learning disorder chapter, dyslexia, dyscalculia. So any doubts regarding this? The same thing is going to get applicable even in dyscalculia also. Dyscalculia, you can't do anything much. You have to make them more clear with the math concepts. That's it. Okay, give him more time to practice. Any doubts in this chapter? Sure? All of you? Just see this, watch this video.
I wonder what it feels like the first time a child is sitting in class and suddenly discovers that he or she can't do what everybody around them is doing.
I had a terrible time reading. My teacher at school couldn't understand it. They thought I was a bright student, but I simply could not read.
I always felt a little bit different going through school. I remember even at an early age having anxiety. I was never the one who would volunteer to read out loud or give a speech or go to a speech class.
You measure yourself against other children. And when you can't read nearly as well as your classmates, it is something that is very disturbing.
I knew as a kid there were a lot of things that were different, just about how my mind seemed to work. But, you know, when you're 7 or 8, you just think you're weird.
I wanted to talk to the principal, and I asked him, am I dumb? Is this not the right place for me?
I discovered my youngest son and I shared the same problem. And he was then in second grade, and I was about 40. I was 34 years old, and I was meeting a teacher, and I was trying to read the paper, and I was having great difficulty reading because I don't read well. And she finally said, "You're dyslexic."
They are all dyslexic people. Okay.
Dyslexia is what's called a hidden disability. So you don't see any signs. The children seem to be and are bright in every other way.
What happens is, on the page, there's so many words, and then it's black and white, so everything's just swirling around, and I can hardly keep track.
I see a bunch of foreign code, and so I have to go through each word to decode it and turn it into sound in your mind. And then, of course, that gives meaning.
The definition of dyslexia is an unexpected difficulty in reading in comparison to their intelligence, level of education, or their professional status. Dyslexia is difficulty with learning to read and the inability to read quickly. Difficulties in spelling. Difficulty with handwriting. But the basic core problems involve reading and getting to the sounds of words.
When children are young, they associate reading with intelligence. And reading is simply one way that we accumulate information. It is not anything to do with how we process that information. How we process that information is far more the kind of person we are, the kind of contribution we will make, the kind of utility we have for society.
When I saw Sky and how depressed she was, and how she thought she was dumb, and she didn't believe in herself, I just thought I was losing her.
Well, the discovery of dyslexia for a student and for their family is a journey. It begins usually with a caring teacher who says something like, "I think I see a problem," and directs the parent to assess it.
The truth is, parents can catch a lot of things, but if you really don't know it until you're at school, because the teacher can watch you progress on a daily basis, and if someone you just discover maybe dyslexic, you go, oh, okay. You and I, we got a journey.
What we now know is you can be quite intelligent and still read very slowly. And in fact, is if you look at the top tier of any profession, writers, people in cinema, physicians, Nobel laureates, attorneys, people in business and finance, there's a disproportionately high number of people who are dyslexic. People who are dyslexic are not going to be your sequential, very literal thinkers. They're going to be the out-of-the-box thinkers.
It was only 4 years ago that I was diagnosed with having childhood
He was also a dyslexic, Steven Spielberg.
dyslexia. When I found this out, I was shocked. But when it was really proven to me that I actually had suffered from this my entire life, I was so relieved. Because all those years of terror, standing up and reciting and going to the blackboard and spelling things, it was incredible the amount of relief I felt. And then I got angry. You know, why did I have to spend so many years not knowing about myself? Why couldn't somebody have brought my parents and I into the fold of knowledge back when they could have done something about it?
One of the things that is unfortunate with children in public schools is that because you have one teacher trying to organize a classroom with 35 students, you might even realize that that student is probably dyslexic. That student might also be dyslexic. But you simply, in the course of your day, are not able to give them the accommodations that they need. And I think there's nothing more heartbreaking than that.
The biggest normal accommodation for a dyslexic is time. And given extra time, they can produce so much more. But this is one of the biggest things that we fight at the moment, is trying to increase the understanding by people that the extra time is not an extra advantage. It's just necessary.
You need schools like Westmark, private independent schools, that not only understand what dyslexic students need, but are able to give it to them.
One of the big pluses that I always say whenever somebody asks me about Westmark is they have small classes so that the teacher really helps you in class on the specific thing you need help on.
We had one little boy who walked up to me after 2 weeks at school with a smile on his face and said, Westmark has me.
This is a school totally dedicated for this dyslexic children. So as being in Western communities, what they have special schools for these children. So this is actually a promotion ad of this school. But the information was good, so that's why I've just put it here.
Obviously, the more students are able to be diagnosed, and the more easy it becomes to diagnose students, the more need there will be for those students to be helped in a special way, like the way Westmark does. So hopefully more schools, like our school, will pop up. It can't be too soon, in my opinion.
We don't have. And we don't have a school especially only for this. That's the problem. So that's the problem. And what happens is these kind of children, they just keep going ahead with the normal school and they'll have problems with their curriculum, they'll have problems with their learning. So all those things, and finally what happens, it's going to show in their academic performance. Because earlier, no, what used to happen is, that's what they say, because this was in existence, as I told you in the starting of the class, many of us would have this problem in our early childhood, right? But it was not that much of, it didn't have that much of focus actually. So now the thing is, people are more aware of it, so that's why they're more focused into actually, okay, what's the problem? We at least will find some solution for this. Earlier also many people were having this, but there was nobody who could actually take an initiation to diagnose and come up with all these things. That is the thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What is the problem with this? Sometimes children are very nice things, and
handwriting, how is his other behaviors and all? Other behavior? Every time he writes ulta?
Whenever I will take a assessment, that time you will take
He is attention grabbing student and attention seeking one. Okay, so any doubts in the session?
Ma'am, what is autism? Autism means jumbling letters.
No. You didn't attend the morning session? You came late?
Late.
See, autism is basically, just one sec. Huh? See, autism, it's not like they're mentally unsound. It's not like that. So autistic child, usually they have their own characters. They're very socially, actually they're not that very secure enough. They don't have that security socially. And it's like they keep repeating same word many a times. And it's not like their intelligence is also compromised. They might be normal, they might be having normal intelligence, but they don't interact socially.
Like Shahrukh Khan might be.
Everything might be normal. He might lead a normal life, everything could be normal. But socially they are not that very interactive. Maybe, yes. Maybe genetic predisposition, or the female having some problem during the pregnancy. Family thing also. Genetic predisposition is there. And most of the medical conditions, you know, as I've been telling you, 60 to 70% of them, the causes are unknown. They just say etiology is unknown, means you don't know the cause. They have all the, might say, okay, maybe because of this, maybe because of that, maybe because of this. All maybe only. It is because of this, so that one is less, the percentage. Only few conditions we know the cause. The rest of the thing, we don't know the cause. It's all maybe, may not be. It's like that. And even the treatment also what they give, it's all trial and error basis only. If it's not getting okay by this, okay, we'll try this one. It's not getting okay with that, okay, we'll try the other one. It's like that. Okay, anyways, any doubts? We'll continue that now. So this is going to be the final session. Coming to the academic part, both psychology as well as health and nutrition. So we're going to complete the chapter. It's only for small 2 chapters.
No, but not that. Like in the beginning, you have told you will be giving some chart. Like this is not proper.
Balance chart, no? You want to do? Just come.
Last year's paper it came.
You have to do that. The pyramid is given, no? You can frame your own food pyramid also. You know the thing, right? Now, overall has to be included in the food. So you can use your, you can create your own pyramid. It's not a compulsion that you have to write the same. It's just to give an idea like how it can be, yes. You can create your own also. See, we have completed this. Madam, please be still. We have completed this learning disability, identification and types, children with speech disorder, language disorder, emotional and behavioral disorder, problem relating to sleep, food, temper, and how can they be sublimated. So almost we have covered everything. Any doubts with this? Motivation chapter is over, right? So the psychology is totally completed now. Which one? Where? In learning disability?
Yeah.
This is almost the same what madam has discussed. Yeah, social and emotional problems what they have. Yes, yes, it's the same. Yeah, yeah. See, whatever I have explained now, this has been given in a slightly different way. So I'll send you the PPTs also by mail. You can check that and there's no need to get confused, huh? Don't worry. This is in detail about the social and emotional support, what you can give them. Okay. So almost similar to the one. And why I haven't included that is the learning disability which I have explained now. Because I didn't want that to be there in the study material of yours. Because that's an additional thing. Actually I had prepared it for a workshop. So, but I wanted my students to know all those in detail. So but for your exam point of view this much is enough. But if you have that knowledge, it's very good. Okay, I'll just take 10 minutes break. Somebody has come. Then we'll continue with health and nutrition. Okay?